Hello, friends and neighbors. I'm back with a little bit more cooking. Sorry I've been busy for a while, so I haven't been able to do this. By request from one of the subscribers, what we're going to do today is chicken fried steak. It's actually fairly simple. What I have here is just two cube steaks. If you're doing, four people, you'd have four, six, you'd have six, eight, you'd have eight, so on and so forth. All it is a round steak that's been tenderized. They run it through a machine, pokes holes in it, make it more tender, and then they call it cube steak. It's one of the cheapest cuts you can buy right now currently, although it's not cheap, nothing is. So all I did with this is salt and pepper, regular salt and fresh ground pepper. What we have next to it is all-purpose flour, seasoned. What I put in there was probably a couple of tablespoons of seasoned salt, and then about a half tablespoon of paprika. That's why it's slightly pink color. And at the very end here is an egg wash, and that's just one egg and about a quarter cup of whole milk, whisked together like you were going to make scrambled eggs. And we're going to wash the steaks in that, then in the flour, back in the wash, back in the flour, and then back onto the plate to get them ready for cooking. So we'll go ahead and start that now. Just take one of the steaks, put it in the egg wash, and move it around a little bit. Put it on the other side, move it around a little bit, drain it off some, and put it over here in the flour mixture. I'm going to get it good and coated. Chicken fried steak gets its name from the fact that you're frying a steak as if you were frying a piece of chicken. So you'll have that kind of a coating, like a fried chicken type coating on it. So shake off the excess, put it aside. Here's the second one. We'll do the same thing. I'm only going to make two because it's just me. I'll probably eat one tonight, and the other one you can put in the refrigerator for up to 3 days and save it. What I'll do probably for lunch tomorrow, if I'm here, you can take it, and it'll be, because it's in the fridge, it won't be crunchy anymore. If you have an air fryer, you can take and put in the air fryer for about 5 minutes on about 400 degrees, and it'll crisp right back up. And then what I do with that, normally if I reheat it like that, I'll put it on a hamburger bun or some toast and make like a chicken fried steak sandwich with some lettuce and mayonnaise and onions and that sort of thing. So like I said, it's pretty simple. Those are the steps to get your crust, if you will, on there. This one didn't get coated real good. And then all we're going to do in a few minutes is fry it. I'm going to stop this now and go. We're also making mashed potatoes, so I'll explain that. Hold on. Okay, so what we have here is this for the mashed potatoes. What I'm doing is boiling for about 15 minutes one whole baking potato, like a russet potato. Peel it first and cut it up into small pieces, like inch and a half. If you can see that real good in there, and don't get the camera too close to it, it'll get all fogged up. But you just boil those for about 15 minutes until the potatoes themselves, so you can stick a fork in them and the fork goes in easy, then they're done. Once they're done, again, I'll pull these off and drain them, and then I'll show you how to finish up the mashed potatoes. And we'll also do gravy after we fry the steaks, which will be in this pan. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we are back. I'm waiting for the oil to get hot enough. Now we got our steaks here battered up. So as soon as this gets hot enough, we're going to put those in. I've got about enough oil to go halfway up the side of the meat. So when you're pan frying them, that's all you really need. Thank goodness, because that's all the oil I had left. I didn't realize I was low in oil. So we want that oil to start kind of shimmering and be hot when you put your hand over the top of it. Not quite there yet. I thought it would be hot faster. So again, this is something really simple. It's very delicious. Most of these kind of recipes came from the old West trail drives. So the guys that cooked on the chuck wagons, they always had beef because obviously they had beef with them. They could, slaughter a cow and take the beef. Hold on. And the round would be something that is not an expensive cut or highly priced, so they would always use the lesser cuts. And this is something you can cook typically in an iron skillet. You can cook it over an open fire, which is what they did, and not have to eat beans all the time. So that's about how much oil you need. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a, what do you call them, a fryer, where you would fill the oil up, in a deep well and have a basket, then you can cook these in about 3 minutes total on high in a fryer. When you pan fry them like this, you want to cook them on one side for about 3 minutes, then flip them, cook them on the other side for about 3 minutes. You'll see they'll be, really golden crispy. That's when you know that they're ready. So I'm gonna cut this off until we turn them. Okay, I just turned them. You can see they're nice and golden. And we're gonna give them about another 4 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. And then we'll remove them. The other side should be that color. We'll put them on a plate with some paper towels, let them drain a little bit while we do our mashed potatoes, which, by the way, I turned them off because they're done. So we'll do that. Once we get the mashed potatoes made, we'll use this pan again to do the cream gravy. I'll show you how that's done. Also very easy. So none of this is very hard. Okay, these should be done now, so we're going to remove them. The paper plate, or rather a plate with a paper towel. Let them drain. They're going to be like super, super hot. We're going to need some of this oil, so I'm going to take it off the heat for right now. Turn the heat down. And then we're going to go over to the mashed potatoes. We'll do those. So mashed potatoes. Again, this is in the same bowl or pot that we cooked them in. Secret to mashed potatoes, in my opinion, is this right here, butter. So I have one big potato in there. For 2 people, that's more than enough. If you were doing dinner for family, like 4 people, you do 2 potatoes, more than that, maybe 3. Again, these are the big, large baking size potatoes. So we're going to put about half of this butter in there. And we're also going to need some milk, which I didn't get out. Again, whole milk. Can't use skim milk for this. And you can either mash them with a potato masher if you like them a little chunky. I like them smooth, so we're going to use one of these things, hand mixer. Smash them down a little bit. They're really soft, so it's going to go quick. They're also not seasoned, so I'm going to put a little bit of salt in there. And you're going to want not a whole lot of, it's good to start off with just a little bit of milk, and then add some if you need it later, milks to make it smooth. Then you just use the mixer to whip them up, get all the lumps out. That's going to need a little bit more milk, not too much. So we probably got about 3 tablespoons of milk in there for 1 potato. All right, so that is how you do mashed potatoes. That's about the consistency I like them. If you like them a little looser, you just put more milk in there, and then you want to taste them from the beater. See if you need any more salt, but I don't. All right, I'm going to turn this off, and then we're going to do gravy. Okay, so I have poured off. Whoa, sorry. I've poured off most, probably 3/4 of the oil that was left over in there from frying that. So you've got, I don't know, a few tablespoons of oil left in there. And we have a whisk. And we have leftover seasoned flour from when we breaded them. So I put it back on the heat. And what we're going to do now is start putting the flour in there, kind of like we do when we're making gumbo. So it's a roux. This is going to be a blonde roux, so we're not going to have to cook it as long. But you see it's starting to, oil's starting to bubble. So about now is when we want to start putting this in. So you want to put the flour in a little bit at a time and keep stirring it until you get kind of a paste in your pan here. It's going to make way too much gravy, but oh well. And you want a whisk because you want to drag up all the beef stuff that leaked out and collected on the bottom. That's flavoring the gravy. So you want to scrape your whisk along there and get that stuff up off the bottom. And again, the flour is seasoned because it's the same flour that I use to cook the steaks with. And it's going to have a few, because we're making real gravy, so those are like burnt pieces of the coating. So it's going to have a few lumps on it. Like I said, this is country style food. Nobody cares. I'll put some more flour in there. The key to this is get enough flour in there and keep it moving so the flour itself gets incorporated and cooked and doesn't turn into lumps. And you don't want to burn it. So when we get this the consistency of paste, which hopefully we can, I hope I have enough. I left more oil in here than I thought I did. So the more oil that you have in here, the more gravy you're going to end up making. You want to let it boil because that's what thickens it up. Alright, so now it's starting to thicken up. And we move the thin stuff, that's oil left over, to the middle. What it's doing is coating all the flour. You see how that's turned into like a peanut butter type consistency. So now what you're going to do is take whole milk and use that to thin it out. And again, this is going to make a whole lot of gravy because I had way more oil in here than I thought I did. When you don't feel confident enough doing this, you can also use like Pioneer or McCormick, make some powdered cream gravy, and it's okay. You can use it, it's really easy to make. Doesn't take as long as this. I hope I have enough milk to thin all this out. If you start running out of milk or you just don't want to put any more milk in there, you can also use water, which I'm probably going to have to do because this is way too much roux. Be right back.